Hey, what's good, guys? Peace and love. Welcome back. I appreciate all of you for your comments about the first episode, and I'm glad that this type of content is resonating with some of you. And um, yeah, I don't want to really think too much about what I'm going to say when I jump on here. I just really want to just have a place where I can freely emote and be myself and talk about the things that whatever comes to my head. Um, Today I just been kind of thinking about, you know, being a good person. I think that there's a lot of people in this world who feel that they can become successful by stepping on the necks of other people. And even if that works, I don't believe the universe is going to allow that success to remain. I think that eventually karma catches up with each one of us, and that it behooves us to really be good people at your core. You know what I mean? Being a good person is not something that you can fake. It's not something that um, you can disguise forever either. You know what I mean? Like, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people any of the time. There's always people that respond to authenticity, and you guys know, if you follow me, that authenticity is one of the things that I preach the most. Being yourself, and along with that is like being a good person authentically and genuinely. You know what I mean? Not doing things because it's, you know, being viewed by someone, or because you're getting praise from someone about it, or because anyone can see you doing it. But doing good deeds and treating people fairly and treating people right and with kindness and with love, like, just because it's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? And because it comes from your heart. And I think that when you live your life that way, there's no way that you can't be blessed. You know what I mean? There's no way that you can't eventually reap the benefit of that lifestyle. You reap the benefit every day, honestly, because of the peace that you can walk around with that transcends all the chaos and drama in the world. There's a saying that I heard that it's like, once you get rich or something like this, like, now it's like, how do I stay rich? It's like the pressure doesn't ease up once you attain wealth or acquire wealth. Like, now it's like, because a lot of people, their heart is to hoard wealth. And so it's like when greed sets in, you're trying to figure out how can you keep the wealth that you've attained. And now it's like all these snakes in the grass and sharks in the water and all this, and you feel, like every day you have to look over your shoulder. But I think that a better way is to live your life from the goodness of your heart and maintain that peace. And so once you get to where you're going, even if you do become wealthy or whatever the case may be, it's not going to be like you've attained your wealth by nefarious means. You know what I mean? And so you don't have to worry about what's going to happen to your wealth, because chances are you're going to be using it for good. I think that wealth kind of highlights or exposes us for who we really are at our core. And I think if you're greedy at your core, you'll get wealth and you will hoard it. And I think if you are a giver at your core, then when you get wealth, you'll help people. And those are the types of positions we want to be in, is to be able to pull somebody else up. And so that's what I long for. I'm a giver at my heart, at my core. And we try to do the things that are beneficial to people. I don't know if I said this on my last podcast or not, but some of the things I like to do is just like helping the homeless, especially. I'll give the shoes off of my feet to someone if I see someone in need, like walking around with barefoot and feet all cut up and bleeding. That stuff really pulls on my heartstrings, especially being out in LA. The homeless population is so expansive, and a lot of people are suffering from mental health issues as well. And so, but yeah, my wife and I, we try to always give back to the community and help the homeless. And we've taken dinners up to the park and handed them out, or just handed them out on the street as we walk by or drive by, buying shoes from Walmart and giving them out to people. And I let people in my house. I'll bring them in, let them take showers, let them leave with a hot meal, give them clothes to wear, out of my own drawer, socks, shoes out of my closet. It's not that I'm ever looking for someone to pat me on the back. You know what I mean? Like, this is just my heart. Like when you see people in need, and there's so many people in need in the United States. I know a lot of times we think of other countries, and we have to think of other countries as well because it's a worldwide effort. But even beginning at home, there's so many cities right here in our own country where there's people that are struggling and are homeless and need food and need love at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like someone that cares. And so this is, I guess, just kind of my encouragement to spread love around the world and to, inspire everyone that follows any of my content to do the same. We got to reach out and help people. We have to, and that karma is going to come back around, just believe it. I feel like I'm going to be a millionaire, maybe even a billionaire one day, you know what I mean? For that reason alone is because I feel like my purpose is great and that I have a lot of people that I'm supposed to help. And, the money is just another tool to do that, but again, just making sure that your heart is pure ahead of the money, you know what I mean? So that when you get where you're going, it doesn't throw you off course. But yeah, that's basically all I really wanted to talk about. I was talking with someone this morning when I was grounding at the park. A lady came through and she was telling me about a story where basically someone was going around pretending to be a Christian or pretending to be like a preacher or something, but they were taking advantage of older citizens, old women and everything, and how it kind of like made her disheartened. And it was just like, that person, it's tough, but you just have to trust the process of karma. Like, that person is going to get what's coming to them, and whatever they've been able to take from someone, like, is not going to last, and we don't know what all people are going through. Like, I just feel like trauma is passed down, and sometimes even people that seem to be like, I don't know, cruel or have bad attitudes or bad personalities or something, they may be dealing with their own forms of trauma and not even realize it, and they may be acting out of a place of hurt. Maybe someone really damaged them to the bone, and that's their trauma response. Is like they've learned to, go inward and just become selfish and think only about themselves, and, maybe it's a defense mechanism or something. It's like, I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt because I feel like humanity is inherently good. I'm one of those. No, there's a lot of evil and hate and divisiveness in the world, but I feel like humanity is inherently good and that we have a pathway back to that goodness, and the book that I wrote, Becoming Human, kind of starts talking about that path, but I got other books I'm going to write, one that I'm writing right now, which is actually not too far from being done as well. It's called Today is the Best Day of My Life. And this book is about the power of positive thinking. And the power of positive thinking just cannot be understated, you know what I mean? Or overstated. It's just, it's so key. Positive thinking is really my superpower, I feel like. Because the world is what it is for everyone. We all got issues, we all got challenges, we all got trials, and difficulties or challenges. I think I already said challenges. But it's the outlook for me. You know what I mean? It's your positive outlook. It's your way of viewing the world. I always say that your perspective is your reality. And I think that's so true. I've learned that your perspective really does dictate your reality. And so the power of thinking positive, like, it's so, um, it's so far reaching. But just waking up and saying today is the best day of my life. You know what I mean? Like, usually when you ask someone when the best day of their life is or was, they usually will think back to some point in the past. And I kind of started thinking, like, at the end of the day, you're alive. You wake up. You know what I mean? You have mobility. You, as they used to say when I was growing up in church, the activities of our limbs. But it's true. Like, every day that you wake up, oh, it's a blessing. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. And so, not only that, but all of the things that you've been through, there's an aggregate. It's like it's compounded all the lessons you've learned, because there's no failures. Remember, there's only lessons. And so when you attempt to reach a goal, even if you don't reach that goal, you learned a valuable lesson somewhere along that way. It's like, okay, even if it was what not to do in the future. And so whatever mistakes you made, if you want to call it that, the day before, as far as yesterday or the day before yesterday or whenever, those lessons are now a part of your bag that you can pull from, for the next challenge. So you've gained valuable knowledge. So literally every day, you're a little bit better than you were yesterday. You know what I mean? Whether there was a failure, whether there was a success, or whatever terms people use. Again, I don't use those terms like failure and whatnot. But however you see yesterday, just remember there's a lesson in that. And so that lesson is added to all the other lessons you've had in your life. And so today you're literally a greater version of yourself for it. And so, today's the best day of your life because you're in the best condition, with the most information you've ever had, the most knowledge you've ever had. You're alive, you're blessed. And so it's just like I have a million little ways of really reframing is what I call it. Like I take things and I reframe them. Any situation that looks like a negative, I look at it and I reframe it. And I say, okay, what's the positive way of looking at this? Because there's always a positive. You know what I mean? There's always a positive way of looking at everything. Even if you are broke and you've lost your job, you've lost all means of income, your bills, like there's something about having $0 in the bank that puts you in position to be able to receive maybe some sort of funding or something that, you weren't able to get otherwise. It's like, okay, I have no job. Well, maybe that makes you automatically eligible for some sort of assistance or something like that, or maybe not having a job puts you in position to be able to relate to someone who has lost their job in the future. So it's like, once you get back on your feet, you know what I mean, you'll be able to look back and help somebody else who's in that position. Like, they've lost their job and they don't know how they're going to get through it, and you can tell them how you made it through. I remember when I lost my job and, I thought I was lost, but I decided to keep hope alive. You know what I mean? And those type of things I think about all the time. It's like, what will happen in the future? The hard work that you're putting in now, how will it pay off in the future? Or when you go through a struggle. Like when I go through a struggle, I imagine myself like sitting in an interview 5 years from now or 10 years from now and looking back and saying, back in 2024, I was going through X, Y, and Z, you know what I mean? And now look at me now, you know what I mean? Like if I had gave up then, I wouldn't be here today, you know what I mean? And so I picture that in real time. I picture those scenarios in real time, and that kind of helps me get through whatever I'm going through. I just think that one of the tools that everyone, well, whoever it resonates with, should use is, picturing your future self and having conversations with your future self. And yeah, like, I think your future self would always appreciate any hard work that you put in now, any time you grit your teeth and push through something. And so, yeah, I also feel like your future self can send back maybe like messages of like tips and stuff that you can use along your journey. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like, I feel like when you have deja vu, and stuff like that, all these unexplained like phenomenon, I think a lot of it can be tied to like some future or some future or past timeline that's happening. I think that if you wake up and you have an intuition, and that intuition is telling you to, do something that seems kind of odd, I think you should just trust it. I just feel like sometimes that intuition could be a future version of yourself trying to warn you about something or give you advice about something. Like, it happens to me constantly. I wake up, and anytime I don't listen to my intuition, which I try to minimize that, those number of times, but anytime there's something like happens, like I wake up and I have an intuition, I'm like, grab a jacket, and then I'll look outside and it'll be bright and sunny, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, why would I have an intuition to grab a jacket? And now I've gotten better where I just listen to it, no matter how crazy it sounds, or no matter how crazy the intuition feels, or how much sense it doesn't make. I just listen to it now, because what used to happen is like I would not listen to it, and then I'll be somewhere and I'll bump into somebody I haven't met, let's say, and someone I haven't seen in years, and they be like, yeah, invite me to something that they're having. And I'll impromptu decide to go with them and like get inside the place, and it's freezing, and you know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, then I look back from that morning, I'd be like, that's why I had the intuition to grab my jacket. You know what I mean? Like, it never fails. Anytime I don't listen to my intuition, it always proves itself during the day that there was a reason why that intuition came to me. And so my thinking, and this is kind of crazy, but my thinking is that there was a future version of me sitting in that room freezing, right? When I woke up that morning, that future version of me was already in the room freezing and wishing that I had a jacket. And so that wishing of my future version of me was connected to me, and it manifested itself as an intuition to grab my jacket when I woke up. Now, I think that sounds crazy. Like, even to me, that sounds crazy, but it resonates with me, because I feel like, so in quantum mechanics, right, quantum physics, there's this phenomenon where two particles are always connected, and no matter how much distance separates them, whatever change you make to one automatically changes the properties of the other. And I do believe that myself is forever connected to my future self. And so obviously whatever change that I make right now today is going to affect my future self. So even quantum physics kind of supports this idea of like the timeline, where you and your future self are always connected. And so I hear people saying time isn't real. I don't know. Some of that stuff is kind of deep, and it's a lot to think about, but it's fun for me, mental exercise. And so, anyway, the point of that, and obviously, like, a lot of this podcast is just going to be me sitting here rambling, so I hope you guys don't mind that. But the point of all that is that you and your future self are always connected. And I try to strengthen that connection by thinking about my future self at all times and what are they doing, you know what I mean? What is the future version of me doing 5 years from now? 5 years from now, I picture myself in a condo overlooking the ocean. And in that condo, which is my own condo that is just there for peace, relaxation, and my music and art. It's not like the place that I live. So my wife and I are gonna have a nice house somewhere. I don't know where. I'll let her choose. Whatever house she wants, or if she wants to build a house, fine. But for me, when I need my untethering time and I need to go away and do my music and be creative, I have my own condo overlooking the ocean. And I picture myself standing there, creating with floor to ceiling windows and, at least 180-degree views. Maybe the whole top floor, who knows? But that's what I envision for myself. And I know a lot of people like really want to be rich and want to be wealthy, and I don't know. I feel like sometimes a lot of people just want to look good to other people, you know what I mean, and get the prestige and the accolades and, the fame and everything. It's like, that's not what I want, but if I become wealthy, or when I become wealthy, I would like to use my wealth to create, first of all, a space of peace. You know what I mean? Just being able to wake up, do what you want to do, wake up and have the freedom and flexibility to spend the first 3 hours just untethering, and not worrying about whether you're going to have to be able to pay bills or not. Just like, okay, everything's taken care of. I'm going to spend some time just untethering. Some time just meditating. Wake up and be able to take your time and go slow, and maybe I'll do art today, or maybe I'll do music, maybe I'll write some in my book, or maybe I'll do another Campfire Convo, you know what I mean? Or fireside chat or something. Or I'm just big on flexibility. I'm big on the ability to be able to move in my own, march to the beat of my own drum. And being a Sigma male, I feel like, the 9-to-5 world just doesn't work for me, and it never has. And those people that know me, like my friends, would tell you, like, I've never held a job, ever. I do a job, and, a month into it, I'm already bored, or 3 months into it, I'm bored, or I'm feeling tethered, because it's like Groundhog Day. You're waking up and you're just going, sitting behind a desk, and you're not changing the world, you're not being creative, you're not, well, at least I wasn't, not in the jobs that I had when I was working, cultivating the creativity. And I don't know, I just couldn't live that life. It wasn't for me. And it's no shade towards anyone that has a 9-to-5, but it's just like, for me, I felt like I was surrounded by people that had dreams that weren't chasing them. I would talk to people on the job, and they would tell me all these dreams they had of what they wanted to be, what they wanted to do. And it's like, so what, you've given up on it? It's like, yeah, I'm just working now. It's like, no, like, I'll never give up on a dream. It's just like, I can't be in this environment. I have to swing for the fences. I have to jump out there, and, if I jump off this cliff, maybe I'll fall, maybe I'll fly, but it's like, I have to try. You know what I mean? Like, I have to take the leap of faith, and I'm just built that way, I guess. 4 years ago, when I quit my job and I walked away from everything, I turned in my badge, I turned in my laptop, and that's when I moved my family from Iowa to Los Angeles to pursue my dreams, and quitting my job was just one of the most freeing experiences, and Um, oh man, just walking away from that place with a smile on my face, driving down the street, just singing, happy. It's like, who knows what the future holds, and maybe it'll be the toughest road I ever took, but like, I have to go out and see. I mean, I just gotta try it. And so I took that leap of faith, and I'm blessed that it paid off. I was able to come and move to Hollywood. I cashed out my 401k, used the money, and my sister gave me some money to help with this move, and we moved out here and didn't know what I was gonna do. I just know I wanted to pursue my dreams, and so I got out here. We got a job immediately in our industry, in our field, working in the TV and film world, and then we met people on our first gig that invited us to other gigs, and started doing gig work. And then I met somebody that was in the music licensing space, and we started getting the music licensing thing going. Then I was getting calls to do music for TV shows and commercials and films, and and then when the TV and film thing started going through their writer strikes and director strikes and everything, I was playing the piano at a music video shoot and got a opportunity to go back on the road, you know what I mean, and be on tour. And so I did the touring thing, being the music director for October London, and just going through that whole process of city to city, state to state, just being on stage and touching people with our music, and arranging for Jimmy Kimmel and being on Good Morning America and all these things. Like, I could have never envisioned my life would turn out the way it turned out, you know what I mean? Well, I could, because I did envision it, but yeah, I mean, I did envision it. Honestly, when I was in the 9 to 5 world, every time I had a break, 15-minute break, or they give you like 15 minutes or a lunch break, I would spend my break visualizing. I never used to eat with everybody, and I'm a little bit of a loner anyway. I'm somewhat of a loner. But I would take my food and go to one of the little side rooms, little breakout rooms, or close the door, and I would spend my time visualizing, putting notes together, putting plans together, writing speeches, practicing my signature, you know what I mean? Like, visualizing the future, visualizing myself being on stage, visualizing, all of the things that happened. And so it was not a surprise to me when it happened. It was confirmation and validation of the power of positive thinking and manifestation and the law of attraction. But those things, again, if I can circle back around to the beginning of this whole campfire convo, which is cool because sometimes you ramble and you make it back home. Again, it's having the heart, the right heart, you know what I mean? That your dream got to be bigger than yourself. My dream is not just to be famous. My dream is to reach people and to help them heal and to grow and to find a place within themselves of love, and to be their most authentic self, their highest selves, the most beautiful self, to help people heal from their insecurities. And there's a lot of people that are suffering with perspective, and sometimes you just need someone to tell you something, and it clicks, something in your brain clicks, and it's like, oh wow, I never thought about looking at it that way. And that can be a healing right there, you know what I mean? Just changing the way you look at the world, changing the way you look at yourself, you know what I mean? And then it changes the way you look at the situations you're in, and your relationships. And when you're trying to cultivate the relationships that are most meaningful to you, it can be difficult because you can't control anybody else's behavior. But once you get free, like inside, and you become happy with who you are, that happiness just kind of pours itself out, and people respond to that. You show people how to treat you by the way you love yourself, you know what I mean? And when you set your boundaries as a part of self-love, and you make people respect those boundaries, it's like you're teaching them how to love you, teaching them, how to respect your boundaries as well. First, you gotta be firm with them. And so all of these things are just things that I think about. I don't really have a lot of people that I talk to because I'm usually untethered myself and just being creative. And so this Campfire Convos podcast meets ASMR thing, I guess, is just really a way for me to be the conversationalist that I am in my heart. So I appreciate you guys for listening, and yeah, I'm gonna go take a nap. So I'll catch you guys probably later when I jump back on TikTok to release some new music. Also, I know some of these worlds can cross over, so I'm just gonna say I appreciate everybody that's been supporting my TikTok page. I've been on Instagram for years, and I could never really, get any views or followers on any of the posts that I made. And I don't know why. I don't know. I've tried looking into the algorithm and all that, but it just never seems to really connect on that page, even though I love my Instagram page, because to me, it's like I can look at my Instagram page and clearly see the progress that I've made, and it's more like my own little diary lookbook at this point, where I don't even expect people to look at it. I just go to it and scroll through it sometimes and become inspired by the things that I've visualized and that are, being manifested now. It's like, okay, yeah, I remember when I was first visualizing this, and now it's happened. But on TikTok, my TikTok followers, man, y'all have just embraced me and wrapped your arms around me and connecting with the content and sharing it on your pages and reposting it and posting it on your stories. And I got like over 7,000 followers within like a matter of weeks. And so I started, really focusing on my TikTok. And so much love, man, on that platform. I hope they never shut that down. I know there were some talks about shutting TikTok down, but yeah, I appreciate all those that are carryovers from TikTok over to my YouTube channel. Actually, this YouTube channel wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for TikTok, because TikTok people in the comments was basically like forcing me to create a YouTube page. Like, bro, go create a YouTube, go create your Spotify. So, me putting the album out on Spotify is a product of TikTok. VYBBEZ Volume 2, me putting this YouTube page together was a product of TikTok. And so a quick shout out to all my TikTok people. I appreciate y'all. If you're not following me on TikTok, go follow me. I don't know what my handle is, but I think it's Cali Vibes or Cali-Vibes or Cali_Vibes, VYBBEZ, something, whatever. I don't think it's the same as this, but that's enough rambling from me. Thank you all for coming. It was always nice to look around the fire and see all of your beautiful faces. And like I said in the first episode, it's virtual right now, but one of these days I'm going to do a real campfire conversation around a real campfire, like in real life. And I'm going to invite you guys, maybe it'll be like a retreat style deal where we all get together and we pour into each other and we support each other and love on each other, and we have programming there and people that can talk to us about, things that we're going through, how to heal, how to be our highest self, and, just have a safe space where we can talk and have emotional release and be in a space where there's no judgment, there's no, nobody looking at you sideways, just a space where you can be authentic. And, that's a goal of mine. So if you like the digital version, stay tuned, because everything that I have in my head I'm going to bring to fruition. That's on me. All right, till the next time. Peace and love, y'all.